In this video, we are going to derive the sine of a difference identity, and we will begin with the sine of a sum identity that we derived in the previous video. The sine of u plus v equals the sine of u cosine v plus the cosine of u sine of v. So we are going to now derive the sine. So since we're doing the sine of a difference, that means that we're going to do to find this difference. That's essentially like doing, that'll be like doing the sum of u and negative v. So let's go ahead and incorporate the previous one. So we'll use the sum identity, which is sine of u times the cosine of negative v plus the cosine of u times the sine of negative v. Now let's go ahead and utilize our even and odd identities, that when you take the sine of a negative x, you get the negative output. And when you take the cosine of negative x, you just get the cosine of x. So now let's go ahead and do a final substitution. The sine of u, so cosine of negative v ends up being just the cosine of v. And when we substitute out the sine of negative v, we're going to get a negative. So it'll be minus the cosine of u times the sine of v. And that ends up being our final solution down there. The sine of u minus v is the sine of u cosine of v minus the cosine of u sine of v. So now let's sum up the previous two. So the sum, we have the sum where sine of u cosine of u plus the cosine of u sine of v. And the difference is the same setup, just with a minus sign in between the two terms. So that means that our end-all be-all is, it will look the same, but if we do the sum, then we're going to add those two terms. If it's the difference, then we're going to subtract those two terms.